Good evening. As you know, I'm Blackbright, and I'm doing a series of Luton influencers. And as you know, I've brought in people who I feel make a difference, can influence others, and who have something a bit special about them. Tonight I have Yemi Warner, and I'm going to ask him a few questions, and I hope the interview goes well. So Yemi, I first met you at the panel meeting in Luton, and I was struck by your eloquence and your courage and your assertiveness. And I was wondering, living in Luton, first of all, what brought you to Luton?
That's simple, my parents.
Okay.
Because I was in London till I was 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mum decided to move to Luton where my grandparents live.
Okay.
They've passed away now. So I didn't really have a choice.
Oh, okay. But you say you didn't have a choice, but as adults, we can go off anywhere, can't we, really?
True, yeah. Well, I have moved away from Luton. I moved to northwest London, somewhere near Harrow.
Okay.
But, I just decided that it's not necessarily where you live.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of what you're doing.
Okay.
So, yeah, Luton probably is not the best place to live in the UK. But it's not the worst either. And I just think it sort of depends on what you make of it.
Okay. So, what is your experience of Luton?
Well, my early experience of Luton was great because it's my childhood.
Okay.
And, there was back in the days where things were a bit more stable in terms of, I don't know, you had places to play, you had places to go. It was about BMX bikes. It was about playing tag, computer games, the park. So it was very simple, and Luton was fine.
Okay.
For a kid, 8, 9, 10 years old, Luton was great. It was like anywhere else for a kid.
So as an adult, how do you find it?
Well, as an adult, when you start having other demands, for example, someone says, "Okay, I'm coming to visit you in Luton. Where are you going to take me?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Where are we going to go? What are we going to do?" I can reel off, maybe 3 to 4 restaurants tops. Then I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Then I'm just talking about, okay, the cinema's cool, but who really wants to come and meet you and chill at the cinema? No one.
Yeah.
So my experience of Luton as an adult, it started to get worse, from 18 years old, when it was like the junglist era. I was like 18. It was great.
Okay.
You'd have Budgie Banton coming here, Rocky Det, Jungle People. It was good. There was no problems. I remember going to see SWV in Luton.
Wow.
You know SWV?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing them in Luton.
Okay.
And then, I don't know what happened. There was some sort of change when it comes to the entertainment. And so that got poor. And also when it comes to, I started to do youth work. And it's almost like you're directing people to go out of Luton to do stuff. Like, if you're telling people, oh, where should I go shopping? Oh, well, have you heard about MK?
Okay.
So it progressively got worse, in a sense of, say when I go to Watford and I go to their shopping centre, I'm thinking, should I move to Watford?
Okay.
Like I mentioned Milton Keynes, when I go to Milton Keynes, even though it's a little bit dead, I think to myself, should I go to move to Milton Keynes? What is really here in Luton?
So what do you think's missing then in Luton?
What do I think's missing in Luton?
Yeah.
What I think's missing in Luton is the 2 things. One is people in charge of, whoever's in charge of the planning. I don't know about these things, but whoever's in charge of the business planning, in terms of what's actually in Luton in regards to business, in regards to activities, they need sacking. And obviously we need things like, okay, we can go on about we need this and that for young people. They've gone past the stage of snooker tables. I mean, yeah, people play snooker still, but you know what I mean? Back in the day, we'd have the youth club with a snooker table and the football sort of.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's 2021 now.
Yeah.
And youths want different things, Not only do they want things that are related to social media, but they want things like boxing, active things.
Okay.
That are maybe mixed with things that are more educational.
Okay.
And I think that Luton is missing a clear direction, a clear path, and as you know, we've heard a lot of talk over the years, but it's whack in that sense, you know. In terms of, I'll just be clear, it's whack. Okay, there's great people here. I love Luton for so many reasons, but in terms of the sort of activities and the vibe, it's whack.
Okay. So you're at uni, I understand.
Yeah.
And what are you studying there?
Film and television.
And what took you to that?
Because from a young age, I was creative when I used to write stories. I used to draw comics and stuff like that for my parents. If I'll be honest with you, what happened is that when I was in school, I went to Leland's High School.
Okay.
I remember getting a D for my art exam.
Okay.
And I was already very angry about that always, because I thought I deserved more.
Okay.
So I always had this sort of artistic sense about me.
Okay.
And also in Leland's High School, I wanted to do expressive arts when you take your sort of, what is it again? You take your options, right? And you can choose, you know, whatever. But I remember wanting to do expressive arts and the teacher saying, no, you're a fast runner. You know, you will run like a gazelle on 100-meter sprints at Stockwood, you know, for the town sports.
Yeah.
And in a sense, as a youngster, I was, oh, great, okay, cool. You know, well, I wanted to do this, but, you know, maybe the teachers will like me more if I do that. I was a kid. So it's really revisiting, you know, because I've done teaching for the last 15 years.
Okay.
It's really revisiting.
Are you teaching art?
No.
Okay.
I've been teaching loads of different things.
Okay.
I've been teaching ESOL, which is like working with international students.
Yeah, I know.
Employment skills like interview techniques, public speaking.
Okay.
But I've been doing that all outside of Luton.
Okay.
I've been doing that with, you know, in Bedford, Milton Keynes, in North London, North West, you know, all over London, probably apart from South.
So when you're going to uni, are you going to uni in Luton or are you going outside?
Yeah, I'm going Luton here, yeah.
Oh, okay. What's your experience of uni then in Luton?
Mixed. I mean, I started during what an elderly gentleman said to me the other day as the lead-on.
What?
The lockdown.
Oh.
he called it the lay down.
Oh, okay. You're right in the lead-on.
But yeah, and so, you know, with the online learning, that weren't great. It was a lot of online, that wasn't great. But bit by bit, I'm getting the hang of it. It's good, it's interesting, you know, it's fascinating. Because obviously I've been a teacher, so like, learning, be on the other side of learning is very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying it. You know, I just finished doing my first film as writer-director. It's a short 10-minute film.
Okay, what's that about? Oh, you're not allowed to say yet, are you?
No, it's a secret. My agents. And, you know, Netflix have told me. Nah, it's about a guy who is in depression. He actually is an actor. He's an actor who is in depression. And what the thing of it is that no one's really noticing, like his friends aren't really noticing. He's down, but they're obviously more concerned with whatever they do in their career.
Okay.
And it's basically just showing, you know, that someone can be in a really bad place and you don't know. And then it's not showing you that side, or you really have to look carefully to observe your friends and observe your family to see what kind of shape they're in, because they might not always tell you.
Okay. Oh, that sounds interesting. So when's that going to come out?
Sometime in January, like late January, I think.
Okay.
But why I sort of got into that is because why I started youth work in the beginning is because I had a friend commit suicide when I was at school.
Oh, okay.
Actually, when we left school, after we left school, but we went to school with each other. Okay. And that's what kind of got me into the youth work and stuff like that, because I've been doing so much in regards to youth work. Like, I've worked with people from 9 years old to past retirement age. So I've worked with kids, like, it was predominantly sort of in Enfield I did this, with behavioural issues. Okay. You know, they'll call it ADHD 1260 or whatever they'll call it. But, where I basically did different sessions with them. So I take a kid, observe him, see that, you know, he's got these issues. And then what I did with this boy is that I made him do boxing, right? Okay. But what I did is that I integrated some of his curriculum, some of his schoolwork in with the boxing training, and sort of like, you know, mix them up. Just basically so he could enjoy what he was doing. And then I found that that sort of works, that principle works. Very simple, of just letting them have fun while they're learning. Okay. I did offer something similar to Luton Borough Council. You know, I did have a meeting or two with them.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, they weren't that interested.
Okay.
But I'm sure going forward, they'll be more open to some different ideas.
Sometimes it's just timing, isn't it?
It's timing. Yeah, it's timing, and I think we need it.
Okay. So, I had something I was going to ask you. That's not on the piece of paper, but it'll come back to me. Yeah. So, being you're an adult student now. I've interviewed people who are adults, and they say to me, they missed an opportunity when they were younger. They didn't have education when they were younger, and not even people I've interviewed. Generally, I find, especially mature people, they say they kind of have that regret, as though it's a missed opportunity to re-educate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to adults who want to go back to education?
What would I say to them?
Yeah.
I say just do it. Just do it. Just get on with it. Because this what you're saying is you're describing me really.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was sort of like a frustrated. I don't even know what. A frustrated something. Not using his skills. Probably at that time not believing. Okay, well I can do this and I can do that. But so what?
Mm-hmm.
And then just having the belief in myself that I'm turning this around. I've worked for a long time helping people, and so if I'm helping people and basically encouraging them, be the best you can be, believe in yourself, and all this stuff. But I've said to them, there's no point saying that to them if myself I'm not going to take my own advice.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, so it's sort of like it's about who you are. Do you know what I'm saying? It's about who you are. That decision. If you believe you're a person who's going to do that. Whatever that field is, that's what you'll do. You won't really need no one to say anything to you.
Yeah, okay. And then you have the financial aspects. We hear a lot of people talking about how expensive it is. Is it? Do they have to get grants? Would you suggest that they work, or what would you suggest to them?
You go for the grant stuff that they offer,
okay,
and look for something part time.
Okay.
That fits around your study.
Because it's funny because it's almost like they're at a certain age and they're still in regret. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think, well, there's nothing stopping you, even if you're 50, 60, however old you are, from going back. And even if you don't go back, you can do it online, can't you?
That's right.
So, yeah.
It's belief.
Well, so... Tell me a little bit about your childhood, adolescence that shaped you into the man you are today.
I know. What shaped me?
Yeah.
What are these big questions? Well, you know what I'd say, yeah? What do you want to know? Do you want to go back, like, way back? And
No.
Like, I was born in... No.
There's certain things about people, that there's that point where you've had your life experiences, and there's that pivotal point that kind of shapes you who you are in, and you think to yourself, okay, this is why I made this decision, or this is why I've become who I am.
Mm-hmm. Well, the youth work was a big part of it because, as I said, I had a friend commit suicide. That impacted me, but in a different way than I would have thought. And so that was sort of me wanting to get through to people who maybe are not been seen, or their troubles are not seen that much. And I wanted to identify them where other people have not identified them and help them. So I know within myself, I'm making a definite change here. There's no debating it.
Okay.
So I set myself to do that, say back in 2004, and I did it. And I'm doing that sort of thing. I've sort of calmed down on the youth work and that stuff now a bit, but I'm still doing it here and there. But that was a major part of me. But then, as I said, it's sort of like, it's great to analyse and look and help people and do all that kind of stuff. But it's always looking in the mirror, isn't it? It's always what do I want to do? So I realised that really I'm a writer, I'm a director. And so that's what I'm going to pursue.
Okay.
And so, it's still going. Like, the story is still going. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's very difficult to sum things up when you're still feeling fresh and ready to go, sort of thing. So, it's a tricky question, It's a tricky question. Maybe you have to be more specific.
Yeah. I guess, like, But you've already kind of you've indirectly kind of answered it, because even okay, the man you are today, who is Yemi? I mean, you've got 3 cultures, and you have 4 cultures.
How many?
I don't know. You tell me. You tell me.
My
And
mum's
how
from St.
those
Kitts,
look.
right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm from St. Kitts, and I'm half Nigerian, but I was raised with my Kittitian side.
Okay.
Really, it's just Caribbean, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I visited the Caribbean. I visited St. Kitts,
Okay.
and I liked what I saw.
Okay.
You know, it's very difficult to like ingrain myself in their society, but I liked what I saw. And when I did go there, it taught me some lessons about, like when I went there, for example, everyone was saying hello
Okay.
and just coming up and starting conversations with me.
Polite.
Very polite.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, there are some English people and some people in England who are a bit like that, because I've met them.
Yeah.
Maybe some smaller places.
Mm-hmm.
But what I sort of did notice is that, especially when I was working in central London, the rudeness. Like, the rudeness. You know, very rude people here. I mean, it's not a blanket thing, because there are some lovely people. But in regards to, you know, people saying good morning to you every day, seeing how you are, this is quite important for society, full stop, I think.
Yeah.
And I think we could do with a pinch of what they're dealing with over there in regards to, you know, your everyday manner and how you...
It used to be like that, but it's almost orchestrated, isn't it? It's not, when they say, how are you, they don't really mean, it's like a formality, isn't it?
Yeah,
In a lot of
depending on who
times,
says it.
Yeah, depending on who says it.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that's probably got something to... So you've been to St. Kitts. Have you been to Nigeria? And do you intend to go?
Yeah, sure, I'll go one day.
When all this is lifted.
What up?
Whatever's going on with the bans, and we're not bit, and people can't come
The
in,
red
and we
list
can't,
and
the red
orange
list and all
list,
that,
yeah.
and all that.
Yeah, one day I'll go, but not necessarily...
It's not a desire. It's not a...
Well, I just want to... I've never been to Africa.
Okay.
So I don't really mind where I go in Africa, as long as I get to visit there.
Okay.
Like, as soon as possible. Really.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm interested in all the islands and all the countries.
Okay.
So I can't say that, you know, I'm going on this African trek, like to the pyramids to like find my bloodline. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I see the world as my home.
Okay.
So I just want to visit more places than I have already.
So where have you visited already?
I've been to Germany, France, Italy, Spain, as I told you, the Caribbean. I've been to Holland. Did I say Holland?
No,
So
you didn't say Holland. Okay.
I think that's it.
Oh, okay. So you've travelled... Were they like short holidays or...?
A mixture.
Okay.
A mixture of short holidays and visiting people.
Okay, so I am going to ask you, okay, the combination of cultures, how does that impact you or your life choices?
It's just black and black. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm mixed with black and black. So what do you get out of that?
So you don't, yeah, okay.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think I was saying sort of this to you before that, okay, there are differences. But I think we make too much of the differences in everything. You know, and we don't talk about what is similar and what's the same. It's very quick to start saying, you know, oh, you know, your cooking is like this and ours is like that. And our island has this and your island has that. I'm bored of that now.
But it's funny, the reason why I say that is because I wrote a book about, my parents are Jamaican, I'm born in England. Now, when I was here, I felt very much a Jamaican. You know, you wear the colours and you speak the patois and you think, yeah, I'm Jamaican. Yeah. But when I went to Jamaica, I felt British and I felt totally alien to the Jamaican culture. So sometimes you can still benefit from both cultures, but the two cultures, I've got the strength of the Caribbean and I've also got that kind of reserved part of me that's to do with Britain. So that's why I was wondering, you know, if there was a, you know, the combination of cultures, how they can actually strengthen your character. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so that's where I was coming from.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that they do. I think they do strengthen your character, but we just don't notice it probably that much until, like you say, you go to a place and I don't know, they call you English boy or whatever. But you know, I think it's about how you feel. And I feel I mean, don't get me wrong. There's been times growing up where I felt British, and I felt this, and I felt that, and I felt like a black person in Britain. I felt all these different feelings. But as I get forward in age and stage, I sort of don't look at it like that anymore. If I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
I just look at myself as a human being. I'm part of the human species, and I do whatever I want. I go wherever I want, and I think sometimes we're too constrained by countries and religions and towns and this and that. And we can see sort of in society how that has spread a little bit.
Yeah,
people
definitely.
feeling that, I've worked with people who've never been out of Hackney. So it's not very good in my sense and what I've been teaching, like to promote this place, that place, you're this, you're that, you're from these ends, you're from that end. Because it's like, well, he could go to Zurich if he wanted to. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Just get a passport. So, but yeah, I think there's good to be taken out of wherever it is you're from. But at the same time, I think we shouldn't focus too much. I mean, tradition is great. Tradition and food and stuff like that. I love Caribbean food, but it doesn't mean I want it every Sunday. Maybe I want something else on a Sunday. Is that a crime?
Fish and chips.
Maybe not on a Sunday, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, not only are you the epitome, I'm going to say this because I want to say it, even though you've answered the question, but it's because I've written it down and I want it. But I said, not only you're the epitome of tall, dark and handsome, but what life lessons have driven your decisions and your choices?
I'd say a lot of it, and I remember someone actually reminded me this. In junior school, there was a boy, something happened to his nose, like he broke his nose or his nose was bleeding. And this was like when I was in infant school or junior school. And this person reminded me, goes, "Oh, do you remember when you helped me?" I'm like, "What?" And I just remembered. And I think that a part of me has been to help others. That's a big part of me. But as I was saying to you, a part of that obviously is helping yourself. So yeah, you help others, you tend to their needs or whatever, you try to support them, but you must make sure that you are the one supporting yourself. So I think I'm at that stage of life now where I'm sort of more looking at myself. But yeah, what shaped me? It's interesting. You're asking me questions I've never asked myself, I think. Yeah, I just think that the environment I have around me, the things I want to do in my life, maybe some things I've seen that I don't want to emulate. We grew up in sort of, me and my friends in the football era of like, we had people like Andy Cole, our heroes, Linford Christie, Chris Eubank. We looked up to those kind of guys, and we sort of, I think, imagined ourselves like, we're going to be footballers or we're going to be sportsmen like them. But then when life doesn't deal you those cards, or you don't manage to get there, you need to be creative with your alternatives. And so, for example, if you're like with a young person wants to be a rapper, wants to be this, wants to be that. That's brilliant, fine. But okay, you want to be a rapper, but let's make sure we have different options, because with these skills, you can do A, B, and C. Not just one thing.
So you're not kind of saying it's out of your realm, but you need to have some kind of contingency plan.
Yeah, there's nothing out of the realm. There's not one thing out of the realm. That's important.
So, what was your biggest obstacle, and how did you overcome it?
Biggest obstacle? What, in life, you mean?
Well, say maybe over the last 5 years. Don't want to go back too far, unless you can't think of anything over the last 5 years. Then you can go back a bit further.
You see what, right? If I'm honest with you, they only seem like obstacles. They seem like obstacles then. Now, but it's just like, right? But really, if I'm honest with you, sometimes dealing with like some of the programs and things that I've done over the years, right? I'm just honest with you. Like, I've pushed things forward to help. Sometimes it's young people, sometimes it's international students, just all different types of things, right? People and cohorts. And sometimes you see at some of these workplaces, right? Some people are crazy, You know that, right?
Yeah, I know.
Let's just be real, At some of these workplaces, and there's someone watching this right now, and they're at a workplace, and they're getting bullied by Jan, or from Bob Jones, or whoever is the person, right? And they're screaming right now, because some people in these workplaces, they need help. They need taken out of the workplace. They need to be grabbed. So they stop bullying people, and they stop trying to put banana skins, and they stop trying to whisper about people in the workplace.
Yeah.
And so some of the good interventions that I put together was sometimes attacked or, you know, attempts at derailing it from, you know, silly little people in workplaces sometimes.
Okay.
In institutions or businesses and obviously let's not, you know, you get loads of good, decent people. I've met loads of great people at work that I still talk to now. But they're institutions, and sometimes people aren't seeing what's happening in workplaces, and then someone is going to be scared to go and report them, or I don't know, whatever they have to do, because they're scared they're going to lose their job.
Okay.
There's a lot of that stuff going on in workplaces. And at the time, it seemed like an obstacle. But it really wasn't. It was just something saying, Yemi, you're not supposed to be here. Like, you know, you're supposed to be doing your own thing. So we're going to put these obstacles there for you until you sort of realise you need to be doing your own thing.
Okay, but then you didn't get over the obstacle, you just left it. In a sense. Because I think when
It's navigating.
we're navigating the obstacle.
Yeah. Because if you have an obstacle, you can go through it, you can go around it, you can go over it, you can go under it. As long as you navigate the obstacle, it doesn't matter what you do. Because the obstacle might stop you in your tracks and make you turn back. But maybe you are supposed to turn back. That's up to you to decide. So when I came across these things, right, at the time, I asked myself a question. Like, say the last obstacle I found was a workplace. I'm going to mention who or what, right? But honestly, I had to go for a walk. I had to go in my car, sit down and go for a walk and say, right, what do I do now? I don't want to be fighting these people, you know, in meetings and can I have this meeting and can I have that meeting and come, let me speak to you in this room and that room. Like, listen, I ain't got no time for that, right?
Yeah.
So what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this individual or individuals that seem odd and strange? And I said, I'm going to go uni. And I'm going to do what I want to do, because that's what this is saying to me. To someone else, it might say, lick them down. To someone else, it might say, apply for another job. To someone else, it might say, get them in the tribunal. It could be anything. But for me, it said, you follow what you want to do.
That's interesting.
And I think that there are going to be other people, plenty of other people, who, for some reason, are struggling in a workplace with, it could be one individual, it could be a group of strange individuals who, just because they've got a suit on or a shirt or a nice blouse, it doesn't mean they're civilised.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they don't bully, just like so-and-so around the Dominant Square bullies. It's exactly the same scenario, exactly the same thing. They just dress it up in a nice skirt and a fringe.
Yeah.
So I think that needs to be looked at. You know, what's happening to people in workplaces, how they're getting bullied, how they're getting set upon.
Yeah.
All different types of workplaces.
And then they're afraid to report it because, you know, they're afraid to lose their job, like you said.
And then they'll say, oh, well, you know, you shouldn't be afraid to report it because, you know, everything. And then the HR department might, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's a big one. So that's been like an obstacle that I thought was an obstacle, but really it was just there to teach me something.
Yeah, to turn the other way.
Yeah.
And do your own thing.
Yeah.
So, have you got any words for anyone going through this COVID vaccine challenge?
Me gone. Listen, you see when the first lead come, right? I went to the park because this is when I was still with the workplace and was doing all this online, what do you call it, Zoom calls, where people are like talking to you forever, having these stupid meetings online when they don't need to. And so, oh, bad connection, you know. Yeah. And listen, I went to the park. I've never been so close to nature as to when this first thing came. And I just took it, well, you know what? I've never really looked at nature. It's really weird, but I've never really looked at nature before. And it might seem like a bit of a soft thing, but come on, let's be real. We're living on a planet, yeah?
Yeah.
And nature is related to us, our immune systems, everything. And, you know, I felt really healthy during that period. And despite, obviously, you know, the sort of strange look of things, I just decided to make the most of it.
Okay.
You know, so I go to the park more often now.
Hmm.
You know, I couldn't stand dogs, but now I'm sort of okay with dogs.
Okay.
I wouldn't say like I'm okay with like
Yeah.
not like that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, I'll touch them, I'll stroke them, I'll try to understand them more, sort of thing. And so, really, I think
Was that a
it's
development because you was out there on the parks and stuff?
yeah.
Oh.
It was sort of like, you know, when it's sort of like, what am I going to do here now? This
Mm.
madness is going on. What am I going to do? Because
Mm.
I'm not just going to like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to get on with it. So that was a positive step for me. And I would just say, for someone going through whatever challenges that you mentioned, that maybe there's something new and powerful to arise out of what seems like mess.
Yeah.
Because we're human beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we've got the power to create. And so if there is something that we see is awful and terrible, maybe there's something good to be had out of it somehow that we're not noticing.
Okay. And I just wanted to kind of revisit something you said about focusing on similarities rather than differences. I'd just like you to just elaborate on that because at the moment I did a video yesterday because the in the metro it had this picture of two black boys in front and a white guy at the back, and it was obvious that it was kind of a divisive advert. And if all people are the same, or if they had one of each other, you know, it wouldn't have drawn my attention to it, you know. But it was the fact that there were differences.
Yeah.
So, if you'd like to just elaborate, so people can actually understand that concept.
And so for me, it's just very simple. I mean, they bang on about diversity, right? So diversity is different things, but it's different things on the same planet. So there's yet a similarity. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a relation between those things. So you can be different and the same at the same time. You know, I am me, you are you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're both black. We both have like, you know, Caribbean blood or whatever. But we're both very different.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we're the same.
Right.
So I just think that you don't have to just hold one concept at a time and say, you know, I'm from Ghana and Ghanaians do this. You know, you can have that difference and have the similarity with Nigerians or whoever at the same time.
Because you're all human.
I just think that now we've come to a stage where we do need to develop these ideas a bit further. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We bang out about all this diversity and difference and that, but do we really practice it? Do you get what I'm saying? Do we really practice it? Sometimes I don't think we do. And so I think when we need to look at, okay, they give us terms like diversity and stuff like that, right? But we can have our own terms and we can just do our own thing. Or, you know, your own ideas. And I think that's what's lacking a little bit, some originality.
Because people have been kind of indoctrinated to notice the differences instead of the similarities. So it is about focusing on the similarities. But is it enough just to say, oh, we're all human beings? I don't think it is enough.
Probably not.
Needs
No.
to be,
But
I don't know what that
it's
thing
individual.
is.
It's individual
Yeah.
to a certain extent. So in your own life, there will be things coming up like, I don't know, for example, I mean, I don't know how your mind works, but maybe I can find out more. But when you see like a white person, if a white person walks around the corner, do you think there's a white person? I don't. I just think there's a person.
No, yeah, I don't.
So I think times we've got a bit of a different understanding. For example, like I remember being at school and knowing all about white people. You know, I just knew about them. What they did their hair with. Did they cream their skin? Did they not cream their skin? What did they eat? Tea? What's tea? Okay, it's like not dinner and it's not lunch. And, you know, we learned these things very easily. And once I know them, that was it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I had the interest, right? I was observing.
Right.
And I was interested in my environment.
Okay.
And, okay, not all, because I know white people who, you know, they'd cook a curry like, you know, like that, But sometimes it's sort of like, they don't still know as much as we do. You know, they don't know as much about us as we know about them.
Okay.
Not saying it's us and them, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, yeah.
And I just think that we just need to, once and for all, learn about each other. and move on.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's they need to get interested. You know what I mean? Because I think at the moment, because the other day there was this lady and she said, "Oh, I didn't know the difference. Even though that one was short, 5'4", the other one was like 5'11". One was big and one was small." She goes, "Oh, I thought they were the same. I got them mixed up." And I'm like, how can you get them mixed up? So I realised that, maybe it's me as an individual. I don't know about other people, but when I look at a white person, I notice their whole being. I notice what they've got on. I notice their shoes. I notice their hair. So I couldn't make that
Yeah, I get
error.
what you're saying.
So I think it's probably about that. It's probably without them realising they're not really interested. They're not interested enough to notice the differences.
I think that's true. I think there's an aspect of that of they're not interested enough to sort of, like you said, make that discernment. But at the same time, I think when there's something going on that side, there's something going on this side. Do you get what I'm saying? So if there's a woman who's doing that somewhere, or women or people who are behaving in that way and not recognising and thinking, oh, is that your brother? Well, no, it's not my brother. He's like 6'8" and I'm 5'9". But I just think that at the same time, white people or whoever could be more interested in certain things. At the same time, as black people, we need to be more interested in different things too. We need to be more diverse. We need to eat different food. We need to go to different places. We need to speak a different rhythm. Maybe it isn't time for a dance. Maybe it's time for something else. As I said, I'll say this to my mum, but she doesn't like it. Maybe we want something different on Sundays. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's diversity. It's not just diversity with people. It's diversity with everything. So it's diversity with fruit. It's diversity with planets.
Trying different things.
With the ocean, with everything. And I think sometimes when we say black people, it's like you have black people and then you get a list of stuff underneath. We want to wipe that list clean. Okay. Because, as I say, I'm a writer. I'm doing films and stuff now. I'm thinking about different planets. Okay. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not thinking about... sometimes I do think about the takeaway around the corner. Sometimes I will be. But sometimes I'm not thinking about the Caribbean takeaway out getting saltfish. Sometimes I'm thinking about something completely different. And I think we could benefit from opening ourselves up more.
And that would kind of negate the stereotype. It would help negate the stereotype, maybe.
You can't really control what people do all the time. Yeah. But it makes it look more stupid. Do you get what I'm saying? It makes it look more stupid because at the same time, when people are saying the same things about us, we know it's not true because we know that there's plenty of black people who's one's a milkman, one's a postman or whatever. But at the same time, sometimes there's a generation growing up where they're getting funneled into a certain way, where the adverts that they're seeing, like, Anthony Joshua, JD Sports, great, fantastic, brilliant. I love AJ doing this thing, right? But that's not the only channel. Yeah. That's not the only... Just because you're 6'6" and got a fade, it don't mean you're Anthony Joshua. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
And I think that we just need to open up, just like everyone does on the planet. Not just black people or white people. I just think we need to sort of mix things up a little bit and explore ourselves.
Okay. Well, it's been wonderful interviewing you, Yemi. Is there any little words? You're falling off the screen.
Oh, Lord.
Is there anything you would like to, that you think is important for people to know about? Could be anything.
Nah, just be cool. Do you know what I'm saying? Just be cool. I think things are going to improve soon. So just be cool with it. One
just
love,
ride the
basically.
storm.
Boy, they look at it like a star, Do you know that? Say it's a horse. And you ride it till it's tired.
Okay.
And then come off, do you know what I mean?
Okay. All right, then. That's all for now. Thank you very much for the interview.
Welcome.